不懂我。
We'll see you around the timeline. Feels good to be back.
I think that Rollup is one of the most premier media brands in crypto, and Andy and Robbie are great experts at everything they talk about, and it's my favorite podcast.
Adding it to my library as we speak.
Potentially multi-chain deployments.
We are at DevConnect Day 1 here. I'm with Jesse from Base. JP Morgan, BlackRock, DTCC, Fidelity, the entire thing was just institutions. It's next level. This industry is going to the next level. And guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
He said it, he finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish, I'm bullish, we're bullish. Is headed to the top. If we're not already at the top, we're going to the top.
We're going.
Rollup is my favorite.
From all walks of life, all over the world, all over this industry, come together for the Rollup.
Zoom out. The institutions aren't coming. They're simply here. It's the golden age of crypto, guys. Get right. Let's go.
Welcome to the nest. See you on the show. We're back. Welcome to Mega App Day here on the Rollup. Shui Yao, our lovely special guest co-host for today's episode. Shui Yao, welcome to the show.
Thank you. This is also the first time I'm meeting you, so I'm rather excited.
And we are going to have a lot of fun. Congrats on TGE. Congrats on Mainnet, the launch. Man, before we get into, look, we've got 7 tremendous apps that have all gone live on MegaETH with the launch. Just tell us a little bit about the launch, about the week. Like, it's been a long week, I'm sure. Like, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling surprisingly calm, and we've been working on this for the last 3 years. And now we're basically subjecting ourselves to everybody's scrutiny via a token and a live ecosystem. I found myself very excited to see both criticism and praise from the community, so that we can adjust our feedback very much more lively. So yeah, it's all very exciting. And the team also, I think, the highest morale we've ever seen.
Very cool. So everyone's happy with how it went, and it seems like it's been rather successful so far.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, indeed. Okay. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking with some of the top apps in the MegaETH ecosystem. And we've already seen, I mean, there's hundreds of millions of dollars in TVL that is starting to permeate all of the best apps in MegaETH, which is very, very cool to see. So let's get into it. Today's show, we've got MegaETH App Day. You guys can see today's topics on the show. We're going to have a little fun with the markets and the weather. Shui Yao is going to be filling in for Andy today, who's down there enjoying the sun in El Salvador. And then we're going to get into the apps. We've got Zeet, we've got Euphoria, we've got World Markets, we've got Rocket, we've got Monster, we've got plenty more in addition to this. Shui Yao, what are you most excited about? I mean, we're going to get live demos. We're going to have all these founders talking to us. You're obviously very familiar with a lot of these apps already. I'm going to be learning about a lot of them for the first time. What are you most excited about to share with the audience today on Mega App Day?
Yeah, so first of all, I think the Z team is traveling right now, so they can't make it. Sorry to the audience. It's, scheduling has been difficult. What I would say is I'm very excited to show people how the apps actually collaborate and work with each other. For the longest time, people questioned the thesis of a general purpose blockchain. If an app really takes off, what's the point of sharing block space with other applications? However, I think you and I got into crypto precisely for the thesis that you can share APIs, you can share primitives, and you can share these experiences, and more importantly, you can build on top of each other. So for the last 2 years, what we've tried to achieve is application that level each other's primitives. Why do you want to build the full stack if you can just build a part you're really good at? So an example that I love to talk about is, World Market, which is a, fully on-chain spot perps protocol. But their customers aren't just retail traders. Their customers are other applications. So we have another application called Hit1, and they're building a retail trading interface on top of World. So instead of building an order book themselves, they're like, hey, I'm really good at user acquisition. I'm just going to use World. So what you're getting is this layered finance situation or layered application situation, and they all live in this like one giant, beautiful general purpose blockchain. I'm hoping at the end of the day, people will see that, Mega has been shouting on top of our lawn that applications are so important. I hope audience can, walk away thinking, you know what, yeah, these people really walk the talk. They love the apps, and the apps kind of all work with each other. I do think that we're probably the only chain that is putting significant amount of efforts in unique applications. And I always say that the app's gonna, find product market fit like this month in May. Actually, they might find product market fit in May. I would say like so quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. However, I do think that the ultimate goal is to have, your barista, your friends from college who are able to use these apps and be like, hey, this thing is really cool. I heard it's on crypto, but it's not the scammy things that I'm seeing elsewhere. So yeah, that's the goal, is to really destigmatize crypto, to make sure that people are having fun with crypto native primitives. I mean, myself, I hope that one day people here will like crypto again. That we're cool kids back on the block.
You know it. You know it. That's what it feels like. It feels like for so long, it was like cool cypherpunk energy, hacker energy. We're going deep into the stack. You know, we all just think about, we all just nerd out on the architecture. Well, your barista is not going to nerd out on distributed network and distributed ledger technology here. They're going to enjoy something like an Euphoria or a World Mart, right? And more consumer facing applications. And so I think maybe there was a time and a place for the infrastructure. You guys thought very deeply. That was all the rage. But you're right. You guys are thinking about applications. I think you were one of the first to do this. And now we're going to see other chains start to follow suit once they realize applications are of extreme importance. And so that's today's topics. We're going to be talking all about these applications. Let's keep going in our intro here. We've got the weather, Shui Yao. I'm coming at you from sunny South Florida. It's 83 degrees here. It feels warm. The entire industry is going to be here in Miami next week. So I'm giving them a little bit of a heads up. This is your weatherman coming at you from the Rollup today. Shui Yao, what's the weather like in California up there in North Cal right now?
You know, it's a bit foggy as most mornings. I think it's going to clear up as, you know, the market is going to clear up, hopefully. It's crispy. You know, I was in New York for so many years, and I kind of can taste the air quality difference in California, I would say. Yeah, they said that it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. And what else? It's green. It's
spring,
lovely,
foggy,
spring.
crispy. You got a beautiful plant behind you. There's very natural vibes. You know, it feels almost like we're like reborn. You go TGE, you go mainnet. It's like, wow, this really is spring. It's this new season of life. Absolutely love to see it. Okay. And so we are very excited to share the warm weather with everyone that's going to be traveling here very, very soon. Let's go into what a lot of people enjoy about our intro. Shui Yao may not be able to comment too much on the markets, maybe the large caps, the Bitcoin and the ETH. Maybe we'll talk about ETH a little bit more. We don't have Mega on our display here quite yet, but you know, I think we have access to maybe the top 25 by market cap. I don't know, maybe by the summer, by the fall, we'll have MegaETH up in that echelon, up there with Bitcoin and ETH and Solana. Market's green today. Very, very good to see. Up 3% on Bitcoin, rounding out 78. ETH is looking good at 2,300. It's been a lot of chop. And so I think everyone is actually very excited about seeing some new applications, getting to try some of these things out, because the market has frankly been a bit boring. There's not been much volatility. It's been very choppy. There hasn't been much happening. So we've gone back to our roots. We want to experiment with the chains themselves rather than just trading all day on these exchanges. But obviously, there's still lots more that we can trade. World markets is gonna, allow us to trade anything and everything. 1000x leverage all across the board. So we're gonna hear more from their team in a little bit. Shui Yao, I guess my question is, what is it like as a founder, pre-TGE, post-TGE? Let's just say Mega, was on this chart here, and you see green, you see red, your emotions are going back and forth. How do you stay true to yourself? How do you stay balanced and make sure that you're doing the right thing for your business and for the ecosystem as a whole, despite the distractions on the chart?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't think chart is distraction at all.
Okay.
I think being a crypto founder, your job number one, obviously, is grow revenue. Your job number two is the token. And to me, people say, token is a product. It's not true. Token is part of the infrastructure. Like, it just represents so much. It can move liquidity, it can move money, it can move sentiment. So, we launched the token yesterday. I basically perpetually have the chart somewhere with me. I probably dream about the chart, and it's probably not healthy. In fact, most of my founder friends told me to ignore the chart. I think they can probably ignore the chart a year in. but I think like right now I need to be like really obsessed with it. And I would say, how does the chart change how I live my life day to day?
Yeah.
I think on the one hand, it just comes so clear to me that unless we have this one North Star, which is the growing the mega GDP, which honestly right now is growing our stablecoin USDM revenue via our applications, nothing else actually matters that much. What the community and investor want to see is, hey, team is doubling down, team is doing real work, team is not just like posting memes online, right? We need to be able to do that, but more importantly, we need to tell people we're doing that. And I'll be very specific. I'll give an example. It's something I regret when I woke up this morning. So we have this very unique tokenomics, which is KPI rewards. The idea is like really simple. The idea is insiders should not be earning 60% of any token out of the gate without proving that they are worthy of taking the token. Like I stand on business in this regard. And then the way we did it was, okay, we're gonna set a bunch of KPIs and they can be economical or technical. And if we meet the KPI, then people who participate in KPI along with the team and the foundation earn more KPI. Which is like really, we took inspiration from Elon Musk. You know, he took $1 as a salary, but you know, if Tesla did really well, then you have this huge asymmetric upside. So we had a KPI economics and we built a product around it, which is called Flux. However, and we launched it yesterday with TGE, and this is the mistake I made. I just didn't talk about it. In my head, I was like, oh my God, people will be so overwhelmed with TGE. What's the point of overwhelming people with another product? It's just so wrong. You should just like, if you do the work, you should just really talk about it. As a result, we missed, a lot of people just didn't know that we had this product and they were not participating in it. And then people were confused with the math. And by the way, people didn't understand if you participate in our previous sales, can you still participate? And the answer is yes, but again, we didn't communicate that. So TLDR, very excited for the token, very excited to grow the mega GDP, but more importantly, we should communicate more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have done a launch in a way that most other people haven't. Like you mentioned, I mean, Elon was able to sort of wrap his head around this. And I saw even, SpaceX, if they get $7.5 trillion market cap, then and they put a million person colony on Mars, then Elon gets his pay package, right? So that's effectively what you guys are doing. Right? You said if we hit these numbers, if we hit these KPIs, then we will unlock a certain amount of tokens. Why don't we just talk briefly about some of the KPIs themselves? What are you targeting? Like the top 3 or 4 KPIs that you have? What are you aiming for? What are these goals?
Yep. So the single most important KPI is the applications. I spend so many hours of my life with the applications because they are probably the most important factor into our flywheel. Sorry to use such a jargon, but it kind of is. Because we have the applications, the application will use our stablecoin, and stablecoin allow us to get revenue, and the revenue will be able to buy back Mega token. And the idea is we don't screw anyone who believe in us. If you believe in us, you participate in KPI, you will get rewarded. So the most important KPI is to make sure that our apps actually get adoption. The second one, I'll be more specific, it's really around DeFi. And our lives were made a little bit harder last 2 years because of the hack situation. I think our flywheel would have taken off a lot earlier. But kudos to both Aave and Isina, were able to pull it off now. So how can we get the DeFi flywheel taken up, but more importantly, get exogenous yield coming on chain? So instead of just the usual token emission, I think that's also really important. The third one is the more technical part. Robbie, I don't know how you think about it. Like, I fundamentally just love technology so much, even though in our industry, people don't care about that anymore. But I still think, the ability to make performant and fast blockchain and the ability to experiment on censorship resistant is a hallmark of this industry.
Right.
And more importantly, we have put Ethereum decentralization as one of our KPI as well, openly, publicly. Because we think a more decentralized Ethereum is good for everyone. So yeah, these are the consideration apps, Mega GDP, and then technical KPIs.
Mega GDP. That is an indicator that I think we're going to be watching for a long, long time. And you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of these foundational principles have also come into question as of late because of the Aave, Kelp DAO, Layer Zero, this whole debacle. And so, given that Aave and Athena were such an important part of the strategy, and I recently saw from Stani like $525 million now in TVL that has been driven as a result of USDM and MegaETH's successful launch. Were you planning on launching earlier, but because of the Kelp DAO incident, you decided, hey, we have to wait until this is resolved because this is such an important part of the strategy?
Yeah, we had a governance proposal that was happening but got postponed. And I mean, we should just accommodate whatever that's happening over there. Like, our launch is not as important as making sure that everybody survived the North Korean. Like, that is so clear to us. We are very grateful to our ecosystem partners. I think people don't talk enough about it. When you have money on chain and every single smart contract expose risks, then you really have this level of like coordination and almost some sort of belief in each other. So I think for us, the Stani, the Aave team, and Guy, the Athena team, have just showered us with so much faith and belief. And I wanted to share more of this story because if you go on Twitter,
please.
everybody hated each other and everybody think like people also hate, like, that's just not true. If there is a positive sum game, it's in everyone's interest to work on it. So I think about our launch for the last 2 years. We just could not have done it single-handedly. And sometimes for me, like calling another founder and asking for collaboration and get instant response has just been so delightful and such a rewarding experience for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the entire industry has rallied around this incident. I mean, you could place blame in a number of different places, but I think the fact remains DeFi United has been this collective, it's been this collective kumbaya. And I think, that gets a bad rap, like the kumbaya, saying, but in the real spirit of what you're talking about, everyone banded together for something that was bigger than themselves. It was the idea that everyone is acting in their self-interest, which I think is true to the nature of game theory, libertarianism, and free market. But it was in everyone's best interest to fix this entire situation. It speaks to the truth of what composability means, I think, in this ecosystem. Once you start having these layers of technology start working together, it creates something that's bigger than any one part, right? And that this is, the idea of synergy and building things that are bigger than the whole. 2 + 2 is 5, and it's important for 2 and 2 to donate half so that you can save 5, right? I think that's math. And so it was really incredible to see DeFi United band together. I think it's very important that Aave was, kept solvent. And ultimately this, has led to some of the success that you've mentioned today around, the Mega Aave Athena integration amongst the three. This has obviously been a long time in the works. You've been preparing for this for such a while, working with partners like Athena and like Aave and building out the application ecosystem. I'd love just to hear, some highlights. Like you said, you were building for 2 years before launching TGE. Like, was there a moment where you were like, oh my goodness, I don't know if we're gonna make it. This is hard. Like, wow, what are we doing? Are we doing the right thing? And then I'm sure there was moments that were extremely positive, but I just love to hear like some memories from the 2 years of building.
My favorite memories are with my own team.
Yeah.
I think we have been through so much together in terms of working with our ecosystem partners and launching testnet, launching stress tests, and then doing public sale in very novel format and going through the regulatory hurdle and all of that. I have to say that my teams have demonstrated so much creativity and resilience, and we're able to proudly just showcase who we are without any, I guess, hesitation. Yeah, I think my favorite memories are with my team. Another few, I would say, moments that make me smile are some of the hangout we have with Mafia members. So even 2 weeks ago, I was in New York in your studio. We did a little rooftop Mafia hangout, and I got to meet new Mafia members.
Very cool.
And
Very
every
cool.
one of them teach me something. Like, I mean, it's insane. One of them was doing a DAX, and then they have a compliance, a competitive advantage. And I was like, oh, wow, I never thought that could happen. And then there's another team who's building a gamified experience, very much retail user friendly. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that you can present option trading in such an easy to understand way. So I'm just perpetually impressed by our application founder. I can never do what they do. I think that's the second memory. And then the third one is I will never forget when we had the pre-deposit bridge debacle. Robbie, I can still remember when that incident happened. We were in Turkey, so we have BRICS, right? So we're in Turkey as a core team, and then that happened. And then I remember I just like stood there. I was like, first of all, it's not a hack, but second of all, so like, can I blame anyone on this? Like, no, you can't blame anyone. It's all your problem. So do you stop deposit? Do you let it go? Yeah, anyway, I still remember that incident. Anyways, the joy of being a founder, which is you just don't know that there's this like secret problem, not secret, but like random problem pop up from nowhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, these are things that ultimately will make the ecosystem stronger. And I think, once you are able to learn from some of these experiences, you can then share that with, applications in the ecosystem so that they don't make similar mistakes. And I still have to remind myself sometimes how early this industry is, because we're still allowed to make mistakes. We're not going to get it perfect, right? The entire thing here is only a few years old. And I think part of the synergy that we talked about and the composability that we talked about before is about learning from each other's mistakes. We know what happens when we do like algorithmic stablecoins. Like when you have Terra Luna collateralizing something, like the thing doesn't work, right? We know what happens when we have one-of-one constructions. Like, now we know, and we can fix this going forward. And that is just more solid of a foundation that we can use to build the next iteration of scale in this industry as a whole. So very, very cool. Shuoyao, thank you for sharing, some of the journey in early MegaETH lore. We've got our first app. So we've got Casey representing Euphoria. And so we are going to get a bit of a demo. We are actually both familiar with Euphoria. This is one of the few MegaETH projects that I have seen. I am somewhat familiar, but I'm very excited to get a fresh look at Euphoria and to share it with the entire audience here. So without further ado, let's get into our first app and start off Mega App Day. There she is. Casey, welcome to the show.
Hey, Robbie. Thank you for having me. Nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. You've got Shuoyao and myself here. And we can see what's on your screen. It looks like a ticker, and we've got a bunch of boxes here. I think people are going to recognize this UI, but why don't you just walk us through what we're seeing here?
Yeah, totally. So you're currently looking at the live ETH price here is what this line represents. You can see we've got Ethereum up in the top left. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse or not on the screen, but if you tap around on the screen, you can see that we're selecting where we think that the price is going to go. And so if we're correct and the price hits our square, then we receive a multiplier payoff. So where does this multiplier come from? Well, you can think of it as like an options-like payoff, right? The further out of the money you tap, the higher the multipliers are. So you can see we're 100x all the way out
Hit
here.
one.
What's that?
Sorry, you hit the first one. I got excited.
Yeah, we'll get some music on so you can get excited. We'll hear. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Okay, so the ones that you're hitting higher up are going to be farther out of the money. The ones farther below as well. And so we're kind of just chopping, but you're hitting. How much are you making right now?
Yeah, well, we'll see. So we hit a 5x there. We missed one, but we hit a 5x there. So I don't know what we started with, but I think we're at about break even maybe since we started.
Let's go. Is this Bitcoin?
This is Ethereum.
This is ETH. And do you have exposure to the underlying here? Or are you just you're just settling in cash and you're just making these options plays?
You're settling in USDM, and so you're just trading, the price action.
Okay, what do you suggest? First of all, where can people go to play this? Because this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, so they can go to euphoria.finance and sign up for an account. And we will be going live on May 14th for our full public mainnet. We currently have a private mainnet that's running. We've got, a few people that we've onboarded early. We surprised everybody. We had a call the other day and surprised a bunch of our community members with early access. And so our full public launch is going to be on May 14th. So go ahead and go to euphoria.finance and sign up for an account. And maybe if you sign up on this stream, I'll go ahead and get in there and grant some access today.
Yo, guys, sign up. Sign up on the stream. Early access. Get in early. Wow. Okay. And so what is preventing me from, I'm already like my game theory is already thinking like, how can I like optimize this strategy here? What is preventing me from just choosing like everything, like without like the extreme out of the money, but like just clicking all the squares?
So if you're clicking all of the squares, you're not going to make money, right? So like if I click 100 squares here and the price ends up going through a straight line and I hit like, a 1x, 2x, 3x, I probably tapped more squares than it was worth. It's not economically viable to do such a thing. So that's what makes it fun is, on the stream right now, we have a pretty low volatility period, but when it's moving up and down, oh, look, you can see there's somebody else tapping on the screen. So you can see other traders tapping on the screen too.
Oh,
so you can see this person is now hitting. So that's not me. So you can kind of trade like with and against people as well. But yeah, I mean, there's different strategies for different periods of volatility. Whenever it's super volatile, you want to be taking an approach. It's kind of like you're reaching for the upper and lower bounds and the price is just kind of tapping where you're at and you're hitting higher multipliers. You might miss a little bit more frequently, but you're going to hit bigger payoffs. And then in times of low volatility, you can see there's somebody here that's kind of just like camping out and cherry picking these, but the multipliers are much, much lower whenever you're trying to take that strategy on. So, earlier I was showing like the checkerboard strategy. We were talking about this all the other day. This is one that I like to do in times of kind of like a medium volatility. And I will tell you though, I mean, some people are sharp, right? Like on our testnet trading competition, we just flew out over this past weekend the winner of our testnet trading competition to London and presented him with a Rolex, and we'll be posting all of the footage of that. But he crushed it, and he did a couple of different strategies, and he ended up made 71K on our testnet trading challenge, and so he crushed it.
Yo, 71K and a Rolex.
71K and a Rolex and a trip to London. We sent him, Nathan and Daniel presented the watch in person and got to hang out, took him to like a nice cigar lounge and took him to dinner, had a nice day out. So
very cool. Very, very cool. Is there a competitive like dynamic here? Because we can see other people. We obviously see you hitting this checkerboard in yellow, but then we also see like people that are, oh, there goes ETH. Oh, pump it. Let's go. And so we also see people that are like choosing things, right? These little like, wait, what? We're pumping. Let's fly. And so we also see other people, hitting these squares. Is there a competitive thing? Like if they click it, can you also click it? Do you run out of options, like open interest at that level? Is there any kind of competitive dynamic between players on this app?
Great question. So some of it has yet to be revealed or really like shown publicly, but there will be more competitive features that kind of roll out over the next as we start to roll things out. So right now it's just that it's just social in the sense that you can see what other people are doing, and if you see that this PFP keeps consistently, like you can see whenever they hit, it does like a little animation. If you see that they keep consistently hitting, then you can start to trail them. So there's not like an automated copy trading profile set up quite yet here, but there will be. So like that, for example, where he just hit and we could see it. But yeah, these are features that are going to be rolling out here, where you can actually like join in with your friends into a session-based trading session, and you can go head to head with one another, and there's prize pools and things like that. But for right now, it's just simply you can observe what other people are doing. But you can copy this. Like I could go and copy what this guy's doing.
You can almost create like tournaments in like a fantasy sports style kind of way. Very, very cool. Shoyao, you mentioned at the top of the show how one of the things you're most excited about for Mega App Day is to share how some of these apps are working together. Casey mentioned that these trades settle in USDM. Tell us about what this dynamic between the stablecoin and the application, how does this ultimately fit into the broader MegaETH strategy?
Yeah, because USDM is just superior than any other stablecoins. And then we all like it and can benefit. Actually, from a Casey's perspective, right? She wants a stablecoin that's actually stable. I would be better if the stablecoin has value flowing back to the ecosystem, which is what we design with USDM. So from my point of view, the USDM becomes the liquidity engine for Euphoria, and Casey know that not only the protocol, but their users might one day benefit from the yield as well. So I think that's the level of collaboration. I don't know if Casey has other plan, but maybe one day they will work with other protocols experiences on Mega. Maybe we can introduce other sort of assets. Maybe we can engage with other projects in terms of top of the funnel, do marketing activity together. Like next week in Seoul, we're actually bringing Euphoria to Korea, along with many of our other applications. So people can have a holistic view of all the fun they can get on Mega.
Oh, well, Casey's having some fun over there. Oh,
let's see what the Mega strategy results us.
We almost got the A in before ETH started coming for our options calls. Let's go. ETH is ripping. Euphoria is ripping. Casey, tell us a little bit about the plans here as we see the Mega strategy unfold.
Yeah, so I mean, for us, to Shu's point, like we wanted to fully abstract away not only just the stable coin, but like the crypto entirely from Euphoria, from the experience. We want this to be an app that can actually break out of crypto Twitter. So, that comes from these social features. It comes from abstracting all of that away. It comes from, like you said, trading competitions and things like that. So we are really looking forward to the competition that's taking place in Korea. We are in conversation with a lot of the other apps in the ecosystem for different types of partnerships and different types of activations within the eco. I think that there's a lot of synergy with different folks. And so, for us, it's, on the stablecoin specifically, I want a user to be able to hear about Euphoria from a friend or see it on social media and go download it. It's abstracted away with a Privy wallet. They see, I just have to sign in with my email address or my X, and then the deposits get converted on the back end to USDM from whatever you came from, whether it's crypto or cash or whatever that might be. And you really never need to understand or have some kind of interaction with like crypto per se. You just come and you're just experiencing some fun app. So for us, that's the goal going forward, is that this is, an experience that it can break out of crypto Twitter and anybody can use it.
Yeah. And why did you choose MegaETH for this application? Was it a matter of scale? Was it Shu and her leadership and the team? What was it about MegaETH that drew you in? You said, yes, Euphoria is home at MegaETH.
Yeah, so I mean, Shu's here today, so of course it is our queen Shu Yao. Uh, no, I mean, we get along great with the team, but, it's a couple of things. It's one, from a technical perspective, yes, it's the speed, it's the scalability. MegaETH enables a Web2 akin experience, and that's what we were going for, right? We're not competing with Web3 apps. We're competing with the attention of the likes of, different apps that people are using every single day, whether it be TikTok or Candy Crush, or, people like to call us like the Subway Surfers layer when you're on a call like this, and it's in the background like that. But those are the types of things that we're competing with, and Mega really enables that type of environment, right? It's that Web2 akin experience. But we really loved the ethos of the team and of the builders on the chain as well, where we're like, hey, we're gonna revive like DeFi summer type of feeling. We're gonna bring back experimentation, and like we're just gonna bring back this new ethos that's like, stop with the copy pasta, stop with the the next L2 that has a perpdex Barlin protocol, Uniswap fork, and that's it. And there's like no innovation. There's no reason to go anywhere. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of those things, right?
Yeah. I do want to ask about assets. I think when you showed me this first, we were at a conference or something. You came up and you already had the demo working. So you're queen of these demos. And so I'm curious how you see scaling into the asset universe, because this modality of clicking and trading and just the line across the stream, anything can be expressed in a chart these days. You look at Hyperliquid and it's got like 4 of its top 10, I think now, are non-crypto assets. People are trading oil and they're trading gold and these sorts of things on what used to be like a crypto exchange. And so do you picture people trading oil and gold and traditional equities on Euphoria? What is the plan to add additional assets here?
Yeah, so we're gonna go much deeper on the tap trading experience. So there's 2 things with Euphoria. We'll go deep and we'll go wide, right? So the deeper is on this actual tap trading experience, which is more ways of interacting, more types of interactions between you and other users, as well as, like you said, additional assets, whether it be equities, commodities. We are, beginning to explore a lot of these conversations with different partners and providers. And so, yeah, of course, like this is a great modality for trading anything. And it's, we joke that it brings like the pump fun feeling to blue chips. And it's like, how can you have fun trading something that, is moving a couple bips a day? Well, it's by, jumping down to a lower time frame, visualizing the experience and making it a good time, making it competitive. And so, yeah, there's a ton of surface area to experiment with and to play with those kind of things.
Absolutely. And are there any plans to start to integrate more with some of the other apps on MegaETH? How are you thinking about how the MegaETH launch went, and just generally, it's been a big week for the entire ecosystem. How are you approaching it?
Yeah, I mean, we're feeling good. We're excited. We haven't launched yet, right? So we launch on the 14th. So our big week is in 2 weeks. But we're super happy to see how things have gone for Mega. I mean, look, it's day 1 of the ecosystem, and it's one of those things that I feel nobody remembers day 1 of really anything. So I think that what happens over the next couple of months are what are going to matter the most. But I would say the launch it went pretty well. It was well received. You have your people that they're like your loyalists. You have your tourists that come in and they dump their tokens and they leave. And these are just expected things that'll happen. But I think all in all, it was pretty well received, aside from, there's a few things here and there, but it's not to be unexpected, right? It's a chain launch. That's how it goes.
Yeah. And one of the more successful ones as of late. Sure. Yeah. Anything that we might have missed here on Euphoria? I want to make sure that we squeeze all the alpha out of our apps today.
I wanted to ask, I don't know how much you guys can share the more social additional features.
Yeah, so I mean, I talked about like the competitive mode that we'll have there, and also there's things that we haven't quite talked about yet. So just kind of like different ways of tap trading, expanded time frames, things like that, right? There's so much to play with here, and I don't know, we haven't made announcements on a lot of this stuff, so I don't want to drop too much alpha here, but what you see today is the least that you'll ever see from Euphoria, is what I will say.
Very cool. Casey, thanks so much for joining. Absolute pleasure. Great demo as always. And one more time, remind people where they can go to sign up, and maybe there's some early access out there for the Rollup crowd.
Totally. Yeah. So head to euphoria.finance, create an account, and shoot me a DM at Casey Craig on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and get you whitelisted, because we love the Rollup. We appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Casey, thanks so much for joining. And shout out to Euphoria. Love to see it. Excited for the May 14th launch.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank you, Casey.
Bye, Shu.
All right. Shui Yao, you're still with us here. Man, what when you first heard about Euphoria, like what crossed your mind? Did you immediately know like this is something that we want on MegaETH?
Yeah, we met Nathan, the other co-founder first, and I was really impressed by his background. For the audience who doesn't know, Nathan was the single most profitable MEV trader in the entire history of Ethereum. He was featured actually on Forbes. This is like I was like, how did this guy just be so clever with transactions on the blockchain? Later on, I realized that he also started a exchange business, which allowed people to on and off ramp very easily. So he's like a very seasoned serial entrepreneur, and he's very obsessed with retail trading experience, which is our thesis as well, right? I think Casey mentioned that Mega is going to abstract away the blockchain complexity, which we have another product showing to folks in May. Really just like resonate with us, and it's just been such a pleasure to work with A-tier founders. They kind of just do things, and they're so advanced. I think even the Euphoria, a lot of people have seen the video of Euphoria. Like I think the video went really viral on TikTok as well. I think, it's just been delightful, and I think they're absolutely gonna go crush it in Web2, like with retails.
I'm really excited for additional assets. I think the one thing about the experience that they've built is that it's so applicable and so flexible to so many different things across finance. You can apply it to all different kinds of assets, and then you can also like we heard social features, tournaments, competitive features. I think there's a lot of young people that are going to feel like they're too late to just buy the assets. Remember, like you and I, it was like, all right, we missed ICOs, but at least we can still buy like Solana, or we can buy some of these like early assets, and then it was DeFi, right? And it was like, all right, well, we missed the assets, but at least we get 1000% APYs in food coins, right? Or sushi swap and food protocols, I guess. And so I think there's a lot of younger people now that are going to feel like, hey, we missed the high APYs. Maybe we missed the hyperinflation of a lot of these assets, but at least we can still participate in some of these like fun games, and we can start to interact with the chains. We can start to interact with the assets themselves, and hopefully create some very unique and optimized strategies, because they don't have kind of like the vanilla just buy the asset. They can interact with it in a much more creative way.
So would you play it, Robbie?
What's that?
Would you play Euphoria, and how long would you do it? Because one of our intern, he took his college friend to play Euphoria, and hit one. It's just like you can see kids on the couch play for hours.
That's what I'm saying. If I start playing, I'm gonna get addicted, and then I'm not gonna be able to host the show. I feel like I'm old. Like I have responsibilities. I want to just sit on my couch all day and play Euphoria. And she's right. What'd she call it? The Subway Surfer layer? Like we're gonna have you and me are gonna be in a meeting talking about some important stablecoin business or something, and then I'm just gonna have my little like Euphoria window up there, and it's gonna be click, click, click. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm gonna for sure. Yeah. And I'm just gonna be options trading on Euphoria.
Yeah, we dude, we have so many more interesting experience. I also think there is a middle ground between the completely gamified trading and the professional trader. There are something where you have to, I think a lot of the complex financial instrument, you have to break them down. I think even for pups, a lot of people probably still don't know what they're trading, to be very honest. I think there's just like complexity there.
Yeah.
So any founder who's able to break it down, not even in the sense of just like ticker ups and down, I think we'll capture some retail volume. Actually, Robbie, I'm also curious, where do you trade?
Yeah. Look, it's been difficult to stay safe on chain. I still do some on-chain trading, mostly, a little bit of yield farming here and there, but nothing too crazy. And so I've got some centralized exchanges, and then I got Hyperliquid, and I've been on Hyperliquid. It works. It just works. There's nothing else to say about it. But I'm also not like a super high frequency guy. I'm usually like, I have a thesis. I like to see it play out. And I usually take maybe like a time horizon of, a few months. Yeah.
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 I think our next guest is Lucas. He's going to explain to you the world market.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are getting Yes, we are getting Lucas set up in the back. He is almost ready. We're getting his screen share set up. Shoya, one thing I wanted to ask you in the intro, didn't get a chance to, is about the Fluffles launch. It seemed to be very, very successful at the time. And then obviously now, with the launch, it seems like every Fluffle owner is happy. Just give us a sense of, Fluffles, maybe what it was like kind of when you were setting things up. And then now that we have the chain and the token live, what are Fluffle owners, what can they expect, from here going forward?
Yeah. Fluffle to me represents the core spirit of Mega community. Really, like I still go back to the different personas and artistic direction that we went with. Like one that I still remember today was the Outlaw Fluffle. I think that's really very much our spirit. We are never conventional. We're very opinionated, and I want that spirit to continue. From an economic activity perspective, like people who participate in Fluffle are, we whitelist a bunch of addresses, and people who minted Fluffle have proven to be very on-chain native or have contributed to, crypto at large or just Mega as a smaller eco. I would like to continue to engage with the Fluffle community. Robbie, it's actually beautiful. The blockchains are so beautiful because you can see things. You can see what people have done. You can see they have interacted with. And we've seen some Fluffle folks who also, participate in ICO and probably have a part of our Telegram group and have done some of our application. And you are able to curate experiences based on their on-chain activity. And I'm like very excited about that. But also Lucas is here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to bring Lucas up in just a moment. We're going to get his screen going. And so you're absolutely right. I mean, I was just thinking I got my search history and I got my on-chain history. I'm not sure. People are very protective of their search history. I'm sure maybe their on-chain history is even more suspicious potentially. Lucas, why don't we go ahead and get the screen going? I think we might have lost it behind the show, but let's go ahead and share, and then we're gonna bring you up, man, and we're gonna go through world markets. There it is. Let's go ahead and bring up Lucas from World Markets.
Yo, what's up? How's it going?
Good to see you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Well, we can see we've got a bit of a, what is this? This looks like a DEX. 100 USDM for a little bit of WETH. So yeah, well, Lucas, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what we are looking at here.
All right, so World Markets, we shipped this UI. This UI is exactly 0 days old, so this is a pretty exciting demo here. We shipped it about an hour ago. So World is spot, perps, and lending, amongst vaults and other things. Fully on chain, fully on MegaETH. So there's no backend server. It is, if you've read like Vitalik's low risk safe DeFi article or read his tweets about kind of what DeFi is, this conforms to every single every single point top down. And what's unique about it is that nothing has ever been built that conforms to kind of like the real meaning of DeFi, i.e. like it's not a centralized app calling itself a DEX or like some app chain bullshit or hybrid whatever. This is the full thing, and it is the most sort of fully functional or feature rich DeFi application that's ever been built, at least to my knowledge. So you got your swap, right? Then you got your trade. So this is perps trading fully on chain. This is universal margin. So every spot asset, yield bearing assets, you can use BTC ETH as collateral, your loans, your unrealized P&L, all of that contributes towards your available margin or your available to trade quantity. You can basically do more with your money, make more with your money. You can earn yield. Right now it's about 7% on your collateral that's used to trade perps. You have, so let's actually look at that for a second. So then you have your lending vaults. So right now we have USDM, BTC, and ETH. I'm a little bit poor on this current wallet, so it's about $50 in here. I should probably open a bigger one, but so you deposit into the lending vault like you do. I can go through this, but like you do with any other kind of vaults, you then get a vault token. Now, this is real DeFi. You can use that vault token and lever it up on Aave or Morpho, right? You can hold it in your wallet. You can do whatever you want with it. You can stick it back in the exchange and use it as collateral to trade, and it's earning all that interest across, again, like all underlying assets, right? So you have these other assets as well. And then, so that's lend. So let's say you wanted to get your vault token here, earn some yield, stick it back into trade, trade perps, no problemo. We also have, this is pretty nifty. So this is probably most interesting for YTRI actually. Spot auto borrow. So you can actually trade perps. So you can trade spot on leverage, very similar to how you trade perps. And this trade UI actually abstracts. So what it's doing behind the scenes is pretty complicated. It opens and closes and renews lending positions as you're opening and closing leverage spot positions, and it abstracts all that away. Now, let's say that you're more on the pro side and you actually want to see like, like every loan and every perp and every spot, you have what we call desk for trading desk, and you can trade all of these markets fully on order books, like from a centralized UI as well. These other pages kind of abstract away the more sort of fully like feature rich and kind of like nuances that come with managing every component individually. And then we got vaults. So this is our HLP equivalent, our trading vault. The thing that's really unique about it is that most dexes, so this is currently institutional capital only. It will be opened up in the near future, but most dexes and really exchanges broadly, their vaults are single strategy vaults. So they build some strategy internally, say market making, and it just does that. The disadvantage is that the risk-adjusted returns tend to be lower, volatility is higher, but the biggest one is that it doesn't scale because alpha decays. And so what's really unique about this vault is that it's actually a multi-manager setup managed by Animite, which is taking capital in and then allocating it to underlying trading teams, doing a diverse set of strategies that are, for the most part, market neutral, flattens the volatility, increases risk-adjusted returns, and you can use that as collateral on World. All right, that is the full
Very
shtick.
cool. And so, Lucas, I just want to preface by saying you are extremely DeFi. Like what we saw just a few minutes ago was, we had Euphoria on, and it was like totally like zero DeFi, right? You're saying you meet every criteria of the low risk DeFi article by Vitalik. This is for people that are like looking for true DeFi. I think it's important to mention because this just shows the breadth of MegaETH here. And I think Shu Yao, you put out, you've got sort of the barbell approach, the left curve, right curve here. And so I've actually got for Shu Yao, I'm like just curious from the MegaETH perspective, how do you build something that's able to support both ends of this spectrum?
Yeah, I think just make sure the chain is really fast, and then whatever the builders are asking, just do it ASAP. Joke aside, I think Lucas probably have a lot more details around this of, I love, Robbie, the way you're using true DeFi to describe world. I'm going to steal that. because the way I've always been using it is, I think it's the most cypherpunk DeFi. It's really built from first principle, but it is true DeFi in every single sense. So maybe Lucas, if you can share with us, like, also I think maybe just a few words about your background as well. You know, what inspired you to build this, and then some of the work we've done together, because we have done so much work for World in terms of optimizing the chain. Every time I see Lucas, my hug is very tight.
Thank you. Yeah, so I actually have another term that I like to use. So true DeFi, I think that's a great one. We're going to start using that. I have started to refer to everything else as pretend-fi, and I'm fucking sick of it. Like this like gluing DeFi to your name to get around regulators so that retail thinks it's hot, for that, you know, to trick VCs or whatever the bullshit, like that will come to an end. It just will. And what's going to require it to come to an end are apps that are, you know, properly DeFi, that are actually, you know, useful. And to Shu's point, so one question that I get frequently on podcasts and, you know, in sort of kind of side conversations is, why don't you build an app chain? Oh my God, these fucking app chain people. Like it's just not very thorough thinking. And I think what happens is that in crypto, you have sort of, it's this like weird game of like debate telephone, where you have like one person debating against another person, none of which have any experience kind of like making anything. And then that just gets like, you know, anyway. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a false dichotomy. You don't have like the idea of like, oh, it, you know, perp should be an app chain or perp should be on a general purpose chain. Like what we've done with MegaETH is MegaETH is sort of demonstrating the kind of like the evolution of this very odd debate, which is that you can actually literally get the best of both worlds. You can engineer the chain so that it detects where messages are going to. So like when you talk to the MegaETH RPC, it will detect that you're talking to World. And it will then, based on that, route to logic, which makes World faster, like higher performance in pretty much every capacity. If you're doing something that's more like, you know, not talking to World, something general purpose, it can route to that. It can do different things. And there's an obviously sort of like baseline level of logic, which, you know, is like the true EVM and glues everything together. There is no trade-off. It is literally just better than like this kind of, you know, app versus general purpose debate.
And so, Lucas, my main question here is, when you're building something that's so complex, where do you optimize? Like, what is the next step here? What is your go-to-market? What are the things that you're going for next? Because you have so many moving parts, what are you focusing on?
Yeah, so what's really sexy to us, and the reason we built it outside of some like, I mean, there are a lot of reasons we built it. I'll write a paper on it, but like it's gluing everything together. So because you've never had a like proper DEX on the EVM, order book, fast, cheap, and you've never even had proper lending on the EVM, because like this pool-based cross-collateralization variable rate lending is not how anyone does anything in the real world. And we stopped doing that in the 1970s, and there are a lot of reasons for that, and most people who use these pools will be very aware of the disadvantages. So we have a bunch of new things. Where the magic happens is when they start to intersect. And that's what we're going to be focusing on, the relationship between things. So for example, you know, we listed YTRY recently. That is a Turkish money market that last year did 25% net returns in dollars. So you can leverage up. That's a spot asset, not perps. And it's not supposed to be a perps asset. It should be a spot asset for obvious reasons. You can leverage that up and earn the leverage yield on World, using that as collateral to even say take the levered basis trade. So this is where it gets kind of crazy, but very interesting. Let's say that you want to lever up on YTRY like 5x. Okay, so if the net return is 20%, that's 100% return, which is obviously like pretty nuts. And it's a currency, so like there's risk, but it's also relatively stable. You can then, with that collateral balance, also do the levered basis trade, which is to say short ETH perps, buy ETH spot, and lever up that position, which also does in the range of like 20 to 50%, depending on kind of market conditions, and you can do the trade in reverse. And so now you're literally like stacking yield with like 2 clicks. And it's because we're doing a lot of very sophisticated engineering behind the hood that allows you to sort of like do these things without taking a ton of risk. I can describe this in more detail. That is a longer discussion, but you can see where this starts to get very interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it already is very interesting because of the composability and some of the capital efficiency benefits as a result. One thing that I want to ask you before we go, which is something that I think I'm going to ask all the apps today, is how you see world markets interacting with other apps on MegaETH. Because
Beautiful.
you know, there's obviously a lot happening internally, but when you're looking at some of the rest of the app ecosystem, what kind of composability are you picturing there?
Perfect. So the missing link that I think is slightly counterintuitive for folks, or at least they don't think about, is vaults. All right. You can package anything you do on World into an ERC20. That's powerful. So the obvious example, or the simplest example of this, is our lending vaults. You can take a 7% lending vault and you can stick it in Pendle and split the variable rate versus like the fixed rate yield, right? And then you can take the Pendle tokens and lever those up on Aave or Morpho. Or you just take the 7% yield token and you stick that and lever it up yourself, right? You can stick it into other things and use it as collateral. Now, let's say that you wanted to get more sophisticated and you have some market neutral strategy, or you have some, you know, whatever, maybe the strategy I just mentioned, levering up YTRI, that does this variable yield. Again, vault. Now you have an ERC20. Stick it wherever you want. Sell it in the spot market to get immediate liquidity, right? You can start, like, that's how these things intersect. You have a market making strategy. You provide liquidity on World, but you also, you know, want to use it to raise capital. Like what Pendle does actually is it's just backwards securitization. We don't have time to explain like exactly, but it's so you can actually use it to raise a fund and split the variable versus fixed rate returns, and then use the capital to like run a vault strategy, for example. Anyway, there's a lot you can do.
Very,
and the
very
UI
cool.
will be
One last
open source.
question.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, what drives you every day?
This is for me.
Yeah.
What drives me every day? I'm not even. I love working on this. I just do. It's maybe a little autistic, but I like these kind of problems, and I am just a huge believer in like and DeFi and like everything that it represents around like self-sovereignty and like basically individual freedom for humans. Like if we. I'm also like a big, I think it's probably okay in these circles. I'm a big like Elon Musk fan. I'm like a huge fucking fanboy. It's embarrassing. If we go to Mars and build like, and we're like, you know, evolving as a species, we are not, it will be DeFi. There is a 0% probability we use the current financial system, or that we use some like, you know, hybrid centralized bullshit version of it and call it DeFi, right? Like that's basically it. There's so much that DeFi unlocks that nobody really understands because the tools have been so primitive historically.
Well said. I tend to agree. I share that that vision. If we are an interplanetary species, we're gonna need cryptocurrency to send from here to Mars. We're not gonna be sending rockets full of gold.
You think about it for more than 8 seconds, it's like, in what universe, like AI agents, right? Whatever it is, you think they're going to like talk to fucking like the support chat and like, or do you think they want to like call a function that's deterministic and like never changes, right? It's just, there's no world in which this doesn't happen. It's absurd to to think that anything else is like there will always be some like large and increasingly small track of like, you know, people who don't use very sophisticated tools and the tools themselves being like unsophisticated, but the evolution favors, you know, the market evolution favors DeFi. Oh, also, the front end will be, just so I can say this very publicly, the front end will be open source as soon as possible, which means like this month, if we can get around to it. So anybody can copy our code, and for the love of God, somebody please copy our code and fork it and plug shit into it and customize it, launch your own DEX, plug in Pendle. Like, I had so many ideas, but they're just too complicated for us to do about like, you know, like I want to, like someone should create like a trading desk, which just like has like prepackaged strategies, like a better Wealthfront. You know, you go to Wealthfront or like Robinhood or any of these like wealth management apps, and they're like, oh, what do you like? Do you want to do like, you like solar? You like green energy? Do you like healthcare? I want the like make me more money button. Can somebody give me the fucking button that makes me the most money? Like, it, you know, this is better. Please, entrepreneurs out there, take our code, build better things.
Claude, make me a millionaire. Make no mistakes. Button.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Coming to world markets soon. Lucas, man, thanks so much for joining. I can already picture having you on again and digging a bit deeper into all the mechanisms here when you know we have a proper sit down. But today, fantastic
Thank you.
demo, and very, very excited to use world markets on Mega. Thanks for coming.
Amazing. Thank you guys.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you.
Wow. Shu, where do you find these guys?
Where do I find these? How do they find us? I just don't think you can build a chain that's faster than MegaETH.
Yeah.
You have done the right architectural decision to make sure that this thing's fast. Oh my God. Can I call your real name or should I call your stage name?
Let's bring him up. No further ado. There he is, Flux.
Hey. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good. I didn't mean. Apparently, you go by many names. What should we call you? Your name is
Dennis. My name is Dennis. Thanks for having me on the show. Excited to be here, guys.
Very cool. Thanks for coming. And you're coming at us from Rocket.
Yep.
Awesome.
Rocket up.
Tell us a little bit about Rocket.
Oh yeah. It's been actually a hectic week. Preparation for the launch of the app and the new primitive. So maybe before we go about that, I can just briefly tell about our team and our background, how we got there. So basically we are a very technical team. We spent last 4 cycles in the space. We created a lot of tools for our personal usage and for a public. One of the notable projects was Genie XYZ. It was the first NFT aggregator, which allowed you to buy NFTs from multiple marketplaces like OpenSea, NFTX, LooksRare. And later on, this company was acquired by Uniswap. We decided to left prior to that acquisition, and we decided to rebuild the aggregation engine for NFT from scratch and do our own market making campaign for all the venues. And basically what we did for several years, we were sending over 1 billion offers for every NFT and like on every venue, offering people ability to sell their asset. And that's our background. So it's a kind of high frequency trading for NFTs. But the market collapsed for NFTs and we started to explore different medium of speculation, trying to envision how the future would look like 2-3 years from that moment. And one of the areas was prediction market, because for us it was quite interesting that you can create a tradable event of any specific of any for any market and make people trade of that. So that's basically when we started exploring this space. And eventually the first thing that we did was Telegram bot for polymarket trading. People were able to trade, buy and sell assets there. But we started to explore the traders' behavior. We noticed that the way that people trade on those markets is very different from what we expected. So basically every trader who want to like buy whether BTC is going to be above certain level or below, he had to go through a kind of clunky interface and go through multiple checkboxes, like whether it's going to be 77, 78 or 79. And then the liquidity across all those books were fragmented. So you cannot actually fully express your opinion the way you do this on perpetual exchange. And this is the moment when we started to work on the app, trying to offer people something better, something where they can fully express their opinion on the future price action. And that's basically the starting point. That was the starting point for Rocket. So what we did is that we started to explore how can we build the best interface for people who have opinion about the future price action. So if you have ideas that the price for BTC or for the price or the odds for GD1s will go up to 35, 40 cents, that we need to give you a way to express your opinions, that we need to give an option for you to make money of that rather than just going through interface, buying and waiting and selling it back. And so basically that's how we started. And we started to see that the fragmentation of the liquidity across all those different markets, it's kind of ruining the price discovery. So the difference between, like, for example, poly market, where you have a lot of order books and they're ruined after market is resolved and they have to be rebootstrapped again. While on Hyperliquid, you have a continuous price discovery. So you have it's the difference between perpetual futures and just like a regular futures. And we started to explore what we can bring to prediction markets that can have this motion of perpetual price movement. And at the same time, we have great liquidity to support that. And basically, that's when we started to build our engine to power all those odds for every event, for every case, for a price for Rocket. And as you see on my interface, it's just like a deposit flow. We allow people to deposit to app from any chain. You can deposit it basically from any chain, or you can use a credit card. What you need to do is just to select the amount of money and deposit. Once you deposit your money, you see the interface, which shows you the basic chart. You see several assets there, ETH, Solana, Hyperliquid. It's just the basic assets, but we're going to expand more into adding more real-world events like of Polymarket. But to show you the example of how it works, so here on the interface on a 30-minute market, instead of just going and selecting a checkbox whether the price will hit this level or this, you can just select the area on a chart. You can expand it. You can predict where the price is heading, and if the price hits this level or an area, you'll make money of that. So you can do this on any time frame. You can do this on 3 minutes, on 3 days, or 1 week, basically everywhere. You can go even on a very short time frames. We are not fully focused right now on the short time frames, but basically you're able to do that. And the beauty of that is that we're using shared liquidity for every market in one single place. So for takers and people who want to participate, it's a great opportunity to provide liquidity in the app and basically make money of that. And for takers, they get in the best odds. So this is basically what we were focusing and working on, and excited to share that.
Very, very cool. And so obviously you have built this very thoughtfully. Wow, when you zoom out like that, it's pretty insane to see. And so I can choose a spot on the chart. Okay, wow.
Yep.
And so what it, we heard from Euphoria earlier, which had a similar interface. It wasn't tap, but it was similar. You could choose where. Now here, what we have is some different weighted circles. I see like more yellow, less yellow. What is happening here? Is it options, derivatives? How are you able to use this structure for every asset, every market?
So the bigger the circles, the bigger the odds in this area. So basically, so it represents that if you place here, the odds are way higher than if you place it somewhere here on the 1 month duration. And your second question was about how can we power liquidity for everything. So it just our experience with pricing models. Basically, when we did that for NFT evaluation, we know the price for every collection, and we're able to measure like every asset in real time. And this is translated to a system which you can use, and you can set your own odds. So it's not us who set in those odds. It can be you, it can be Shue if they provide liquidity and they select and set their own grid. So let's say you are bullish on the market and you believe that the price will go up. So you can still provide liquidity in this market, but your odds will be higher in this area and lower in that because you're bullish on the market. You're offering people to bet against you, and you basically taking the other side of this trade. So the composable layer allows people to provide liquidity and set their own odds. So you're not only able to buy from this area, you're also able to, instead of, so you see here the odds. So if you disagree that this is the right odds, you can set your own. And then the taker would be able to buy through your policy and also through mine. So it just layers of liquidity around behind every odds. So when I buy something from here, I'm buying through multiple vaults, multiple policies, which has different odds. But the odds are based on the size that I'm willing to take. So if I start to increase in the size, the odds will go lower. And this our exploration around what we can build around, as well as what we can build around permissionless prediction market, because this is how we started. We were thinking about what kind of tool can be used by people who are willing to create markets on everything. And when we explore different markets that like were created back then, we noticed that every permissionless prediction was about the price action, whether BTC will hit 78, whether it hit 76, and all those books were fragmented. And we realized, well, it's not going to work because like if I'm willing to express my opinion and the price will be exactly in the areas that I feel, I need to get the best odds for that. And we need to have shared liquidity. And that's how we started to work on it.
By the way, Robbie, this is actually also my first time seeing Rocket.
Wow.
We're really giving the role of the front row seats into our mafia. So a bit of a story, I guess, with Flux was part of our Mega Mafia 2 cohort. So dude is a chat. Just like the level of understanding of market, I've just not seen, right? Because he worked on market aggregation before. And then, so when we met him last year in Copenhagen for our residence, the product was not looking like this. And then dude just like went on hibernate. He raised a round from, was it Electric?
Yeah, it was Electric, Tangent, Amber, J Square, a lot of great partners who's helping us on the way.
Yeah, so he raised a small round and just went back to building again. And then obviously I was busy with TG and all of that. And then he's like, oh, I think we're probably can launch and be ready. I was like, oh, how about you demo it tomorrow? We were talking about this yesterday. He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm supposed to go out next week. I was just like, dude, do it.
Let's go.
Yeah, what you see here is just an early alpha version of that. We're gonna ship a lot of features. Like I would only mention one. So because we kind of trying to feed prediction market category, so our main priority was to how can we derive prediction of such scalar market. So basically, when you place your odds in certain area, you kind of observe the liquidity from this side. And based on the bets and the order flow, we can create a curve which shows where the price is heading. So the more you bet here, the lower be the odds. And the more you see where the price is heading. And the beauty of that is that once you start betting in this area, the odds will go up in this area because as the market makers and the vault will try to hedge themselves against your position. So for participants, it would be very beneficial just to watch the chart and make moves based on that, because you can actually make money off a simple bet just because someone else want to hedge their position. So this is one of the cool features that we bring in on. But also we lean towards more social aspects. So you're going to see a lot of, so first of all, we add in ability to see how other market participants behave. You would be able to copy trade them. You would be able to watch what they do. And the mental model that we have is that, like, the North Star is that you should be able to, like, so this can be also for New York Knicks, and you should be able to watch New York Knicks game in the real time and also bet on the odds of this team winning. So you can bet on the first quarter, second quarter. Like, if you believe the Knicks going to lose in the second quarter, you should bet that their odds will be at 20 cents in the second quarter. And that's what we feel, and that's what we envision for the app.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how this translates into prediction markets very clearly. And then I also love the idea how you're able to not just buy these positions, but you're also able to write options in a certain sense. You can be the maker or the taker for any one of the slots on this grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the natural price discovery can only happen in a healthy market where you create market where everyone can participate, everyone can provide liquidity and be on one or another side of the trade. So that's why we feel that the composability of DeFi is super important for us, because at some point we believe that we can also export this liquidity for other apps and other primitives.
And so we're asking this question to each of the apps that demo here today. How are you interacting with some of the apps on Mega? Are you integrated with USDM as the denomination currency here? How are you integrating some more things here on Mega?
Yeah, right now we have USDM on the testnet. So on the mainnet, it's going to be the same. We prefer to use the native currency of Mega. Yeah. And for settlement, it's kind of very, very beneficial to use just a single currency. Going forward, we might explore different options, like, for example, betting in the native asset. So if you're in BTC market and if you believe that market is going up, maybe you don't want to convert your BTC. Maybe you want to use your BTC and use it as a leverage to your position. So we're exploring those opportunities as well. But for now, it's mostly USDM. We also integrated previous, so you don't have to see all those confirmation windows. You don't have to worry about anything except actually predicting where the price will be on the chart and telling us. So just very simple and intuitive. And I like that we don't have to worry about the tech. We can just rely on MegaETH, and that's something I really like about the work.
Play it?
When can people play it? Oh, I think next week, late next week, we're gonna do a big announcement about our campaign.
Very cool. And where should they go to learn more? Is what's the website and the Twitter?
The website is userocket.app, and you can sign up for a waitlist, or you can DM me at the Rex Flux at X, and I will give you an invite code.
There you go. The Rollup audience gets the early invite again, guys. Go DM OXFlux _ on Twitter. Use rocket.app. Very cool. Launching next week. Flux, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate the demo. It's very, very cool to see. Obviously, a very clear understanding of market structure here. I am personally excited to use this. Yeah, as you guys develop more prediction markets, I think it is only going to get more and more compelling. So thanks for joining us today, taking the time and showing us the app.
Thanks for having me on, Robbie. Thanks. Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Let's go, Shu. I know.
Dude, I don't know how you do this. This is like a lot of hours, really.
I was gonna ask, actually. You were a late addition to the lineup. If you need to go at any time, feel free. But it's a pleasure to have you stay.
Yeah, I might have to. Yeah, I might have to hop.
Okay.
But this was really fun. So
yeah. Okay, Shu, before you go, just give us your closing thoughts. Obviously, I think we're only halfway through the apps today, so we've got a lot more to go. Thank you for joining us for the first half of Mega App Day. Closing thoughts. What wisdom can you leave us here with?
There's no wisdom, the only lesson. The lesson learned is if you believe in something, you have to keep pursuing it. The entire world is against you. And if you believe that crypto apps deserve to exist and everyone else will use some sort of crypto apps, just go for it. And like as your fellow weather woman co-host, I think sometimes we get. I thought the weather would clear up, but it hasn't.
Still a bit foggy. Maybe by the end of, by the time we get through all of our Mega Apps demos, we'll have the full composability, the full picture. That's when we'll see the sun again.
So, yes. Thank you so much for having me, but I
Absolutely.
really have to hop for other things.
Understood. Shu, thank you so much. It was great meeting you. And congratulations again on mainnet and TGE.
Bye.
Shout out to Shu Yao. Great to see the queen of MegaETH herself. And so nice, so friendly, just absolutely a great person. We are going to reset the stage here. We've got Andy from Monster coming up in just a moment. I think we are all good to go. Andy's going to be showing us what he has going on at Monster. We're just getting the screen set up. We had to let our lovely co-host go. She's got very important things going on. I don't think, sometimes we have these mainnet launches. I'll just rant a little bit, pontificate here as we set up the frame. Sometimes we have these mainnet launches. We have founders, they come on for mainnet or they come on for TGE. They join us for a 30-minute session, maybe 45 minutes. Shu Yao is here for a good 2 hours, taking the time out of her busy schedule, following mainnet, following TGE, and describing the entire chain to us, helping us understand some of these applications, getting into the KPIs, getting into the fluffles, getting into the USDM deployment strategy, all of the TVL, all of the incentives. Very, very cool to see. You were able to get into her head and understand how she's thinking about Mega post TGE and post mainnet, which is very, very cool. Guys, founder psychology is a big, big part of this. We always hear what it's like as these teams are leading up to mainnet, and oftentimes that coincides with TGE. It is a grind. And so the fact that Shu Yao wasn't falling asleep here is a win in and of itself, because it is some sleepless nights leading into a token launch and a launch of any kind. I think we're ready. We've got Andy ready in the back. And so why don't we go ahead and bring him up? He's going to be showing us Monster strategy. Let's go ahead. We're going to catch them all. And we're going to be talking real-time gaming on MegaETH with Andy from Monster. There he is. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a shame that I had to scare away your co-host, but
yeah, I think our co-host might have needed a nap. She's been working hard over the last few weeks, last couple of years that it's taken to launch this thing, and she was with us for quite a while today. But we are here continuing our run through the apps on Mega App Day. And so we appreciate you joining us, and I'm very excited to hear about Monster strategy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look forward to it.
Absolutely. So we've got your screen up here. Looks like some trading card packs. Trading cards. I have a friend who does trading cards. He didn't catch the crypto bug like the rest of us. He's gotten into the sports cards and I think maybe some Pokemon cards too. And I've heard they've been on an absolute tear. Trading cards have gone parabolic. Tell us a little bit about what Monster strategy is and what we see up here on the screen.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the trading card market has been pretty nuts for a while. But yeah, so Monster strategy and kind of what we've been building is our own iteration on the trading card world and kind of what that looks like, and bringing it on chain. For context, my co-founder Nate and I have worked together for a very long time in the crypto world. We previously had an NFT startup called Fractional back in 2021 and did that for a long time, and have now transitioned to a different sort of collectible. But so Monster, we have these claw machines, or we call them gotchas, packs, different people call them different things. And inside of these, we have a bunch of graded Pokemon cards, and we have other trading card games coming very soon, like One Piece and sports cards and things like that. in each of these packs, they have a fixed price that you pay to play, and there's you can then look and see, and there's a bunch of cards here available. There's like hundreds of cards that you could potentially win, and so uh, you pay $50 and you get a random card. And I can go through and show us a playthrough too in a second here.
Let's do it. These are real physical Pokemon cards stored in a vault somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a couple different vaulting partners that we use. They're kind of just sort of like industry standard. Some are tied to auction houses, some are grading companies. And so it's nice because they kind of manage all of the like shipping everything, and also just like making sure that, the cards don't all burn up in a fire or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe some insurance on that. And so,
Yeah.
would love to see. Yeah. We got a claw machine, and so I see three options here, maybe three different collections.
So these all basically go by price point. And so the cheapest one is $50. We're working to get a cheaper one as well, but it can be a bit challenging with graded cards. It costs like $20 to get a Pokemon card graded, and so you don't really see very many graded cards that are worth less than $20. And if you do, they're really not very good. And so it kind of creates some challenges getting cheaper than that. But so we have a $50, a $250, and a $12.50 if you want to really play with the big boys. And so, yeah, and one of the things that we offer, and a lot of the like great platforms that kind of work in this industry offer, is, the average value of the card that you pull is actually higher than the price that you pay to enter, which I think is a really interesting kind of twist, where if you just want to collect cards and you don't really care what you get, and you're open to, spending more than $50, over time, you'll end up with more money than you spent in cards, which I think is really cool. And then kind of the way that we're able to offer that is, one, we're able to source cards for cheaper than what their fair market value is. And then at the same time, if you get a card and you don't like it, you can sell it back at 85%. So we'll basically buy back any cards that you don't like. And so
how are you able to source cards cheaper than? Or it looks like we just got a card.
I just bought one here.
We'll dig in.
So this is basically about as bad as you can do, to give context. But so you can see we pulled a Venusaur card and so if you can go and see the grading company, and if you click out, I think this would mess up my screen share if I click to it, but you could go and like read about the grading and all of that. And so the card is worth, if I do some rough math, $31 or $32. And so if I want to keep it, I can add it to my vault, or I can sell it back. I'll keep this one for now to show you something else later. But as far as sourcing cards, one, you can go to like trading card shows and be a vendor or be a buyer. The market is very interesting, and I've learned a lot over the last year working on this, as far as the average person, if you want to sell your cards, like say you had a $100,000 Pokemon card collection that you built up over time, if you go to any of the major online places to sell those cards, you're really only going to get 80 to 85% of the value of those cards, because of fees on these platforms, basically. So like eBay charges like a 13% fee. Some of the other like bigger auction houses charge up to like a 25% fee even. And so if you go and buy in person, or, just find people who are looking to sell, you could actually often get a pretty good deal if you're kind of coming to offer them larger size to exit positions and things like that. And so that's the main way at this point.
And for all the cards that are here across the three different categories of value, what is the total sum value of the cards that you have on the platform?
Yeah, currently it's around, and this really varies. It's right now it's around like $400,000 worth of cards. The kind of the caveat being, and this is a great problem to have, but a problem is users actually really do like to use the platform to collect cards. And so we, in the last 3 days, have had like over 300 cards held by users. So I've just been like scrambling, trying to buy cards, trying to like talk to different vendors. Yeah. And so like right now our inventory is on the lower side. We've had times where kind of the total collection was up in closer to like the $600,000 range.
Yeah.
But we need to, we're working very hard to get these numbers up kind of as fast as possible to really scale to more offerings and different varieties of cards and stuff.
And is the format more of a marketplace in the sense that other people can list their cards as well, or is it entirely you and the company that is going out, buying inventory, sourcing it? There's not an ability to, like, if I had a card that I found in my closet, and I was like, oh, I don't know where to sell it. I'm not, I just happened upon this card, I could list it, or that's not a feature.
So not currently. Basically the challenge that's there, and that's with a lot of these kind of like RWA collectibles platforms, is you need to then like authenticate that that you actually do own this card and that it's real. And so something that we're experimenting with is basically partnering with other trusted vendors who also have large supplies of cards, to where they could then also have inventory on our site, where we basically like work out a legal agreement of you can't rug our users and sell them cards that you don't have and all of that. Long term, we would like to get to a place where you can come and basically send us cards and we will vault them for you and you'll get them on the platform and all of that. Just operationally, that adds a massive amount of overhead. And generally what we've seen is people typically are buying cards on the site and then maybe trading with other people or selling them back. And so like one thing that we've been offering for a while that we think is really nice is like, once you do buy a card and we offer you this buyback, we actually offer the buyback in perpetuity. And so basically we will forever track the fair market value of this card. And we will basically, whenever you want to sell, you can sell it to us at 85%. So the idea is that you could use the site and build up a collection and build up a portfolio and keep it here as long as you want, and know that you'll have liquidity in the future if you do want to sell, or you can always redeem them and get them shipped to your house.
Okay, so there's also the ability to essentially like take physical delivery of what I earn on the platform.
Yeah, I was just at the post office today sending out some cards.
Oh my goodness. I can see you getting really busy as this thing scales up, trying to source inventory, trying to send out cards, software development, engineering.
Yeah, we're only a 2-person team as well, so AI has really helped us out as we do this. But yeah, it's definitely something where I have a lot of respect for some of the bigger players in this space who are doing 100 times the inventory that we are currently. Like it's an operation.
Wow, this is nuts. I've just been somewhat on the surface of this industry, so I haven't really experimented too much here. Are there things that people should know? Like, I take it people are going to want to try out this app. What should they know about the card trading game in general, so that they approach it? Maybe they, how they can understand a good card from a bad card.
Yeah, I mean, I come personally, Pokemon was like my first love as a kid, and which is also, it's fun. This is like kind of a passion project for me in a lot of ways. Like, I remember I was 4 years old and I got a Pokemon video game. My dad had to like read to me how to play it as I was like sitting on the couch playing. And so I think, for a lot of people, what I would really recommend is to try to be smart about it and, have a good investment perspective. But at the same time, like, I think you should buy stuff that you like. I think you should buy cards that you think look nice, or that you think are interesting, or have an interesting narrative. Because for most people, otherwise you're probably not going to outperform the market trying to like pick the right cards or things. And so then otherwise you probably are better off just like buy some old Charizards or buy some old Pikachus, some of the most famous Pokemon, and let them sit for a long time. But it's very interesting. The market's it's pretty insane right now. Both in just demand, most packs are like selling out like crazy. And also the prices have gone nuts for a lot of cards. I mean, there's cards that we bought back in October, let's say, when we were kind of like first building out our inventory, that have like 10x since we purchased them.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And so I think too, having a bit of a longer term mindset is probably pretty important at a time like this. Just like, if you've been around in markets for long enough, when you have a bunch of stuff going 10x in half a year, like, as someone who's been through the NFT cycle, it's kind of like, whoa, I don't know. It's funny to say that as someone who's running a trading card platform, but just like realistically, something to be aware of. But I think having a long-term perspective and like understanding kind of why trading cards are doing well, and kind of I think there's this really interesting kind of merge of nostalgia and kind of alternative asset classes that are really kind of blowing up in general as just an alternative to the stock market and things like that. I think there's just like a really nice combination of like tailwinds coming together for trading cards that we haven't really seen before.
Wow, very cool. And so the market structure, has to be pretty efficient in order for you to always have liquidity for an 85% offer. And you also mentioned that you're tracking these things in real time. What is the liquidity profile like for some of these cards? Are they actively being, traded back and forth? And I guess it must be like there's multiple different iterations of the same card, in the sense that you've got a lot of different Charizards out there,
Mhm.
right? And so you can kind of get to a median price of like a typical Charizard, and then one that has a higher grade and better shape is going to be on the upper side, and then one that's in worse shape is going to be kind of on the lower side. But is that kind of what you see? You have a bunch of different venues out there. You have these, different grades all flowing through these venues, and you can kind of build a range of what that typical one looks like.
Yeah, that's generally pretty accurate. So typically you have a given card and then you have its grade. The kind of one confusing bit is there are multiple different graders, and the market actually prices different graders differently.
Okay.
So a 9 out of 10 grade for each different
For
grading
one is
company.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so PSA is kind of like the king as far as liquidity and
Are they
grading
the
goes. So
toughest grader?
they are. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are some smaller ones who are maybe tougher, but as far as like, there's kind of like a big three that are PSA, Beckett, and CGC. Those are kind of the big three companies. And so a PSA 9 is typically a stronger card than a CGC or a Beckett 9. Um,
How
and
they're like, they talk about girls, it's like, oh, she's in Oklahoma City 4,
yeah,
but she's like a Miami, I guess that would be the other way
literally.
around. But yeah, yeah. So okay, so you got Beckett, CGC, and PSA.
Yeah. And so there are several pretty big auction houses that do pretty sizable volume. And so they offer a lot of kind of like the indices of tracking the values of these cards. And so obviously some cards are really rare to where, like I bought some cards yesterday that haven't been transacted in months. And you kind of just have to be like, I don't know, I think it's worth this much. We're gonna see.
Okay. Okay.
But there's other cards where you really can have a very good understanding of the market, especially some of the newer cards that have gained a lot of popularity. And I think that's one thing that's interesting as well, is you kind of have these different eras of Pokemon
Mm.
where there are like vintage cards that were all minted, like created between like 1996 and 2000, 2001. And so those cards typically have kind of lower, people call them populations, like
Mhm.
lower just numbers of graded cards at the
Right.
high end. And so it can sometimes be harder to price those.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of the newer popular cards, they tend to, like, for example, one of the most popular ones that's new is, and I say new, it's like 10 years old, is like a Mario collab where Pikachu is dressed up as Mario from Super Mario. And so like that card actually has more population than some of these other ones, but it's really desirable. It's kind of easier to track because there's just like more out there in the
Yeah, yeah.
world that, and at that point in time, people were much more seriously considering this kind of like an asset class. And
Mm.
so they were taking better care of their cards. They were getting them graded. They were doing all
Right.
this stuff. Whereas like, you look at cards from 1999 and it's just, there's a bunch sitting in like someone's basement somewhere.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And so it's interesting to hear you say that scarcity isn't always the most desirable. There's multiple qualities here. There might be some, player that only has one card out there, but he's a no-name player. Whereas you got Pikachu with,
Mhm.
dressed up as Mario. It's a very like quirky thing. And there might be multiple iterations or a larger population, but there's also more demand. And so
Yeah.
that also begs for a higher price.
Yeah, and so there's a particular card. There was a Vincent Van Gogh collaboration where it's like Pikachu kind of dressed like Vincent Van Gogh, and of that sort of like we actually have one. I can pull it up. Let me see if I can find it
What's
on
the
here.
most valuable card you guys have?
We have a card that's worth like 50 grand.
Whoa. And so someone could win that. You would have no control. Like someone would pay probably for the upper
Mhm.
claw machine $12.50. They would put in $12.50 and they could potentially walk away with a $50,000 card.
So we actually had someone win this card once. We were like 3 days into our launch, and so we didn't have that much money because we bootstrapped our company as well.
Yeah.
And someone hit it, and I was like, "Oh no, that's not good." It worked out. They ended up selling it back to us. At the time, I think we had it valued at like $36,000 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. But so this is the Vincent Van Gogh Pikachu. Let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I
You
see.
can
We
see
see
it.
Yep. Got it.
And so like this card actually has an incredibly high population. There's like so many so that I don't know if this is still true, but it had actually surpassed whatever the most famous Michael Jordan card was to be the highest market cap card of any trading card.
Whoa.
And so I'm not sure if that's still true. Currently, this was maybe about a month ago, but it hasn't really slowed down. So I think it probably is. So this is like, as far as market cap goes, the most valuable trading card that exists.
So the Jordan card was probably a higher price per card, but had a much lower population. And then this one, $1,700, nothing to scoff at, but it's also got like a large population multiplied by $1,700 per card is going to lead to a really high market cap.
And it's extremely liquid. Like if you want to sell one of these, you can sell it for very close to the fair market price very fast. And so people kind of care about that as well.
Yeah. And so are you manually aggregating your own pricing sources, or you have, some agent or software, that's helping you keep track of all of these things across different venues?
So we use there's an application called Card Ladder that is kind of just like a well-known app for like tracking your collections and valuing cards. And so they source auctions and eBay sales and all of that kind of stuff. And then they, whatever proprietary software they use to price stuff in the back end. But I would say that's something that has been kind of eye-opening to me is in building in this space, there is just a massive gap in the tech that people need. And I think there's a lot of just like open space for companies like Monster and others building in the trading card world to kind of expand beyond consumer applications to more like B2B and things like that, because we end up having to build a lot of stuff ourselves. There just it's hard to get good pricing. It's hard to get good data and information. And so that's something where there's still a really big gap in the market.
That happens in a lot of these startups. You build something that you need for your own business, but it ends up, multiple other businesses need a very similar tool. And then, you can spin it out. You can go sell it on its own. Andy, this has been fascinating. We have a lot of, digital asset and crypto RWA conversations, but it's really fun to go into another domain and get a sense of how you're leveraging some of these similar tools, just like, what we had just talked about. So thank you for kind of explaining the trading card industry, and walking us through Monster. Before we let you go, tell people when you're going live. You're already live. Yeah.
We've been live for a
find you.
while. And we basically migrated to MegaETH like the beginning of this week, and it's been great. We've had several $1 million of volume, people playing through the app, and it's been great so far. Lots of cards redeemed. But yeah, and so you can find us. Our Twitter handle is just MNSTR, just Monster with no vowels, and our website is mnstr.xyz. So you can find us on either of those, and my Twitter is Andy8052. I tweet about basically trading cards all the time.
Love it. Very cool, man. Well, congrats on the successful, going live and the success so far. And welcome to MegaETH.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. See you next time. Thanks, Andy.
Bye.
All right, guys. Show continues to roll on. Hope you guys enjoyed the trading card landscape. I personally like to learn about all of these new domains. It's very cool to see. And like I said at the top of that segment, I've heard that the trading card world has been on a parabolic rise as of late. And it's cool. They're using provably fair things. They migrated to MegaETH. They've got upwards of $1 million in trading cards on their platform, and people can do very, very well by leveraging their claw machine. You can have some fun. You can learn about this. And he said that the average value of card is higher than what people typically spend on these claw machines, which I think is ultimately going to make this a rather sticky user base for their app. Wish them best of luck. Shout out to Andy from Monster. Next up, we've got the co-founder of Bricks, Ataberk, who is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking real-time FX, no screen share here. So Ataberk and I will have a quick conversation about FX and their launch on MegaETH. Let's bring him up. There he is, Ataberk. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, man. Well, we've been ripping through the MegaETH ecosystem. I think we've spoken to about 5 or 6 applications now. MegaETH went live yesterday, mainnet launch, TGE, and you guys are building on MegaETH. Would love to hear a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Bricks.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Robbie. Yeah, so basically, I've been in the space since before the DeFi summer, and the main reason that I got in was that all of the fantasies I had about economic development in developing countries, I was like, 30 years in bureaucracies or McKinsey's. Probably by the time you get to implement your ideas, your soul has already been, turned into gray concrete. And blockchain was, to me, a way to have a claim on the future of where the economic systems evolve. And if you're able to design those rails and design those systems, then you have space of putting the ideas that you want to see. And with that realization, we just basically went all in. And a funny story is when I began this journey, one of the first people that I onboarded was Namık, who is, you might know.
Yeah,
the mega
co-founder,
chef.
MegaETH.
Yes, and we even had our warehouse San Francisco moment in New York with an apartment of like 4 people who were just going all in crypto back in days, and we were just focused on building. And I've been basically building tokenization systems, protocols around the space. And basically, we started putting the seeds of Bricks almost like 2 years ago, when we were building enterprise solutions using blockchain and smart contracts for different institutions around the world. And we saw that the tokenization was going to define how new assets are brought into market, as well as who can access around the world and how they can be utilized. One of the defining features of the RWA tokenization space is that most of the space we talk about is US denominated assets, US treasury bills, American stocks, but the world is much bigger than that. And developing countries are very promising, high growth potential places that also what we like to see in DeFi, right? High yield, high risk, high return. And we basically realize that this is a big problem space that will need to be solved, because these assets will also have a space in this new global capital markets, or whatever the new meta calls that.
Yeah.
And we basically took it on ourselves to solve the infra problems that will allow us to bring these assets on chain. And that's how we started Bricks, and that's how we also rolled out our first product.
Very cool. Very cool. And so you guys are an RWA tokenization protocol. I take it you're probably focused on Forex. I've also seen a lot of more traction in non-US dollar denominated stablecoins. So tell us a little bit about how you see Forex and what this first product is, and then ultimately why you guys chose MegaETH.
Yes, we are mainly interested in the meeting of global investors with the Forex products. So, Forex, when you say Forex, it's settlement, B2B payments, but also the trade itself that comes with both the Forex exchange, but also the underlying yield of these Forex assets. And basically, the Forex assets are for us the first gateway into bringing the emerging market assets, because they are the most liquid, counterparts. And also when you build a settlement infrastructure around that Forex asset, you can easily expand that into different asset classes such as stocks, such as different hedging products that would power future perps for these stocks. And basically, one of the interesting aspects of the emerging markets is this carry trade, which is basically a trade on the Forex yield against dollar and trading on the yield versus the depreciation. And it is actually, the numbers are crazy, like I remember when Athena launched and we were, farming that 40% APY, it was great until billions of people decided to enter that train and dilute the yield. But when we say carry trade, it's like more than $100 billion trades that's happening. So when we talk about size, this also like real world size, and it is a way for basically entering into a high risk, high return trade that brings upwards of 20%, 30% dollars on some scenarios. So we thought that that can be the first interesting product for the crypto markets, where more and more USD stablecoin or capital is sitting on chain, and they are looking for more and more yield sources. And when the markets are looking hopeless, all the yield sources deplete because you cannot farm different like governance tokens and so on. These Forex yield assets, we believe, can offer a new path for people to try to earn from the yield. Of course, it's a new trade that would also require people to get familiar with the concepts of it. But I think in general, the demographics, we are very good at monitoring the situation when it comes to macro trends. And also, it would be good to have the ability to jump on that trend and have a trade and be able to trade the macro.
Say, the basis trade here for different foreign exchange currencies. The idea is that, each country is going to have, or each country with their own currency is going to have some sort of native yield in the form of their treasury, right? So sovereign debt. In this case, for the dollar, it's, 3.7, I think maybe 4.4% for 10-year. Different durations have different interest rates. And so are you essentially, how does the trade work in general? You're buying the bond and you're shorting the currency?
Yeah, so there is a big difference with the basis trade, where most of the basis trade that you've seen is more like delta neutral, hedged, just arbitraging different markets. Carry trade is a bit different. Carry trade is more trading the return from an interest rate and depreciation of the against the depreciation of the currency against the dollar. So, for example, the first product that we launched is iTry, which is basically a Turkish lira pegged stablecoin that is 100% backed by Turkish lira money market funds. And these Turkish lira money market funds, they generate daily returns, and these are like T+0 settlement, so you can enter and exit in a day. And they mainly track the central bank interest rates, which are paying around 40 to 45% APY. And the trade that you are entering is that the yield that you're earning from that iTry is going to be more than the dollar depreciation of Turkish lira. And for the past year, for example, this trade has brought around 20 to 25% net returns in dollar. And it doesn't, go down with the more size that you enter. It is dictated by the central bank policy rates.
What is the central bank policy rate right now in Turkey?
It's around 40%.
40%?
Yeah.
Wow. How are they able to? I mean, man, that is just, that's nuts. And so when you have bonds from the central bank at 40%, you're obviously getting a lot of that yield, but it's inflating the currency. The currency is depreciating. So you're saying that there's more yield than depreciation, and that's the spread that you're able to capture. And you can do this across not just the Turkish lira, but you can do that across several currencies.
Yeah, and I mean HSBC, for example, they publish or even BlackRock, I think they publish every year, top 5 carry trades of the world. And
Yeah.
what is essentially the difference against, let's say, like Argentinian real, where
Yeah.
that the inflation is going to eat away all the depreciation, is that this is the fun part about trading the macro, right? So doesn't the central bank of Turkey, for example, they are maintaining an active policy of basically controlling the depreciation rate of Turkish lira against dollar, and they have many instruments apart from just the interest rate. And the interest rate is also used for people to save their lira and keep it, right? So they are basically playing a macro strategy where their goal is to make sure that the depreciation of the dollar against Turkish lira is lower than the Turkish lira interest rate that they pay, so that first of all, Turkish people, they keep their Turkish lira in the Turkish lira, and foreign investors bring hot money that would basically create more liquidity for the strategy that they are pursuing. So these trades are not like permanent trades, but they create tremendous opportunities when you are able to access that.
Wow. And so my last question here is, why does this need to be on chain? What and why MegaETH?
Why does this need to be on chain? It's because if you were to try to enter into this trade right now, this would probably take you a year, and probably you don't even have access to the brokerage account that gets you that access to that product, because you are not 10% of the financial players.
Right.
One of the biggest benefits of having it on chain is that it basically makes this asset accessible to the whole world, and it drastically removes barriers of access, barriers of entry. The second component is that then you can also build interesting markets on top of this. Like you can use Morpho to leverage Loop trade.
Yep.
You can use this collateral across different places. And one of the things that I really love about this space is that, especially with AI agents, now we will see probably a lot of creative financial markets also popping up. And I believe that the asset's next generation version will be tokenized. So these assets will need to come on chain, but also the advantage that they give in terms of accessibility is unmatched by any of the TradFi rails. When it comes to MegaETH, I also wrote a little piece about that, actually, like why we chose MegaETH. There is 2 reasons. First, they say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
So it takes MegaETH is getting a lot of heat in its early days, but it actually takes dedication as well as an imperial mindset to be able to build an ecosystem for the future you believe in, where the blockchain will go. And I've known the core MegaETH team for many years, ever since that I entered the space. And it's just that the team is also very important in being able to carry forward and incubate an ecosystem to basically have a play in where the blockchain will have a space in the future.
Yeah.
Secondly, one of the biggest challenges that non-USD assets face when you want to bring an asset to the market is that they are local fiat denominated, right? So they are like volatile FX assets, stocks as well. So being able to reach real-time settlement as much as possible creates tremendous advantages. And I believe that MegaETH's real-time transaction capability and settlement capability will be a big factor in being able to settle assets that allow you to instantly mint and also redeem against all the TradFi rails. Because when we talk about tokenization, issuing the token is just one layer. Then you need to convert that USD stablecoin into local assets, that local asset into the, that local fiat into the local asset. It has many settlement components that need to work well. and the more you can get that settlement duration to instantly,
Right.
the more robust infrastructure that you are providing for these assets to come on chain.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of these institutional firms, a lot of these institutional asset issuers are now looking at 24/7. They're looking at instant settlement. You have equity issuers that are now starting to come on chain because they realize that there's a lot of idle capital when you have things T+1, T+2, but you increase the settlement uh, uh, and make it a lot more capital efficient and unlocks a lot of value. So it makes a lot of sense. Ataberk, I think this is a strategy that we'll continue to see. I appreciate you coming on, telling us a little bit about the basis trade, and a bit more about bricks. And so, where can people go right now? Where can they learn more? Are you guys live right now, where they can start to take this strategy?
Yes, we are live. And just a little small clarification.
Sure.
It's carry trade, not basis trade, and that's like a very big component. So just want to kindly correct that.
Carry trade, yes, thank you.
So we have our yield-bearing iTry version of token VTry that's already live on world markets on MegaETH. And we are about to release our platform where lots more different interactions that people can do with this asset will be live. That will also showcase their actual trade performance as well as just improved UX. But people can already go and buy VTry on WCM and enter carry trade.
There we go. The carry trade brought to you by Bricks. Ataberk, thank you so much for joining, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. And congrats on joining MegaETH for the launch.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time. Thank you, man.
Ciao.
All right, guys. We are on the home stretch here. Wow. What a day. Incredible. Mega app day here on the Rollup. Big shout out. They've been coming on and just absolutely rocking and rolling. I think, let's see here, looking at the schedule, we've got just one or two more guests that are going to be joining us. We've got our next guest that is going to be coming on in just a moment. We've got Henry, who's going to be coming in and telling us about Hit One, which is an app that we've actually heard a little bit about over some of the other demos. I think people are very excited for Hit One. And Henry's going to be up. Let's get him up. There he is. He's behind the scenes. Henry, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. I think Hit One is going to be an instant classic. We had a couple of, first we had Shu Yao of MegaETH joining us. And then we've heard a couple others talking about Hit One on the show today. So I think people are very excited for what you guys have. And I see you've got a trading terminal by the look of it here on the screen. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Hit and a little bit about what we're looking at?
Yeah, I appreciate that and always love everybody in the Mega family. So what you're looking at right here, we are calling this category we're creating pretty much arcade finance. And what that is taking these financial products like a derivative, an option, a prediction market, whatever it is, and turning it into a super digestible, repeatable, fun way to essentially experience it. And that's what we've done with our first game, appropriately titled 1000X. So what you're looking at here, it might be familiar if you've ever walked into a casino before and seen a slot machine. That's exactly what it is, except this slot machine is going to deal you a blind high leverage trade between 500 and 1000X leverage. So I'll show a little demo here. All a user is going to need to know is how much do I want to trade with. That is literally it. They're going to slide the trade amount to wherever they want. Then they're going to try and open a trade. Right now, asset leverage and direction is essentially being dealt at random, or is being dealt at random. And once it locks in, your trade opens. So right now, I don't know what my trade is. I do not know direction, asset, or leverage, and the user does not find that out until they're either liquidated or they close the trade. You can hold this as long as you want. This is a real perps trade that is being executed on world markets, also on MegaETH.
Yeah.
So We're not the house in that sense. We do not profit on user loss. We want as many of our users to win as possible. So while a trade is open, you can either double down or sell 50% or close the entire thing. The other things you can do, you can click on any user that has a current trade open, and you can essentially create your own arena with either you or friends of their P&L charts. So right now, can't see the usernames of who I clicked, but these are all real trades live on Hit right now. And we also have a global chat as well. When you're done and you want to close, simply just click close, trade will execute. And now I realized, okay, I was long Bitcoin at 540 times leverage. And that's really where we are. Right now, it's one position per person. We do have the ability for multiple positions coming soon, so you can just sit there and spam them out. So again, we took extremely high leverage, which is this dangerous financial product almost, and really repackaged it into something that's super easy to digest. We sometimes say it's effortless access to extreme risk, and that's truly what we're building. So this is just game one. We have a lot more to come for this game, but we do have more games coming. Hit will be this suite of games that give you a similar experience, but everything is built on top of real markets. Everything is non-deterministic. We have no control over whether users win or lose, and yeah, that's it.
How did you last so long with 540x leverage? I would have thought that, maybe we're just in a low volatility environment the last few minutes, but 540, I've seen people on 100x leverage get liquidated in 2 seconds. How did you last almost, a minute or two here?
It honestly varies. I've had some where I'm gone right away. I've had some where I open and I'm up like 2 or 3x right away. We've honestly seen the longer you can stay open, like exponentially the amount that you end up profiting. Obviously, you're at high leverage, but yeah, it's a variation. Our average hold or trade time is probably around 4.5, 5 minutes right now. So it's actually longer than you think, and total win rate is somewhere 43, 44%. So users are winning more than people think, and yeah, positions do stay alive. It's super fun.
Can we get another one going while we talk about this?
Of course.
And so you probably said, okay, we're in profit. Oh, there it went.
No,
But,
so if you don't have a trade in and
Uh-huh.
you click on a user who has a trade in, you essentially see what you saw for your trade,
Right.
but for their trade. So that just happened so this guy right here, he's up 5x. He's up $36. I can't see how long that trade has been open, but that's definitely obviously a great one.
Right. Okay.
And
So
yes,
you can
I'll spin again though, for sure.
you can play this yourself, but then you can also watch others. And
Correct.
so you determine, I see a $38 there. Is that your bet size for this position? No matter what ends up, the ticker, the leverage, the direction, that's you
Love that.
set your bet
There we
size.
go. Exactly. You set your trade size, and everything after that is, yeah, that's it. You set it once, and then even when you double down, it will double down. If I started out with a $10 trade, when I click double down, it'll add $10 to it from wherever you are, and yeah. So once it's locked in, and that's all the user needs to know. That's it.
Yeah. Wow, very cool. And you mentioned you're using world markets to power these perps. So you and we had Lucas on from World Markets on actually just earlier today, and so I think that's how Hit One did come up earlier in the show. Lucas built quite a sophisticated trading system with World Markets. It seems like there's lending, there's earning, there's staking, there's swapping, all sorts of things all embedded in there. How broad do you see Hit One getting in terms of the different assets that you're going to have? You've already got upwards of 1,000x leverage, but essentially, you've also got social elements from here. I take it this is live because we see other people.
Yeah, this is live. This is fully live. I think in the last 2 days we probably had, at minimum 1,500 unique traders.
Very cool.
It's probably more now. I haven't checked in a little bit, but yeah, this is all live. You can go on right now and click my name in the bottom of the room bar and watch exactly what we're seeing on the screen. So in terms of Hit and expanding it and stuff like that for this game, yes, assets 100%. We want to have as many assets as possible. If you think about what we're trying to do, right? You're trying to catch anything as opposed to catching something. And that's kind of the motto that I'm going with. When you go to an exchange and you're directionally trading, you need to catch exactly what your thesis is, right? On hit, you don't care about direction, you have no opinion, you're trying to catch anything, a wick in any direction or something like that. And so the more assets that we add, that's more opportunities for every time you click that button, you're resetting the odds essentially. So we definitely want to list more assets. One of the things we noticed is that users were going up 40, 50%, putting their phone down or closing the tab and then getting liquidated. And so we launched this thing called Profit Guard. It's a trailing stop at 50% at arms. The first take profit is 20%. And then anytime you hit a new all-time high of P&L, it'll auto take profit everything 20% under that. So if you have it on and you go up 100%, it'll close out when you're up 80, dropping down from all-time high of profit. So things along that nature. And honestly, similar on the social aspects, when we were working like beta testing this with fake money and early users, they were actually on Zoom with HitUp and a bunch of them and posted it in our Telegram. And we were like, okay, this is kind of an idea that we were thinking about. It's clearly something users want if when we have 20 users, 10 of them are on a Zoom call and doing this. And I think that's kind of what we take into every feature that we ship. If we see user behavior that supports it, there's no reason for us not to go out and build it. So when it comes to anything, whether it's game modes like Profit Guard or social features like being able to pull up charts and chat, it's always best to see what are your users doing. And yeah, that's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone can also learn from everyone else's strategies. In this case, you kind of just spin and the social element is more for fun, but there's always different ways to play the game. Like you said, game modes, profit guard, this sort of thing. I want to ask you maybe like one level of abstraction from hit one, in general, or I guess one abstracted from 1000x, but just in general around hit one, people have kind of a mixed opinion on the hyper financialization of everything. I can see, and we've talked earlier about, just MegaETH in general, the apps here, how, they're like the new Subway Surfer. I can be going here, there, everywhere. I can be on a meeting. I can be, in a lecture hall. But wow, someone hit for $277.
I don't know what that's definitely not, there must be something's going on in the market. Hopefully that's real. I don't know, but
there we go. That's pretty cool to see.
We'll have to check on that.
And so I'm just curious about how you react to the hyper financialization of everything, because I kind of go back and forth. On one hand, I can see how we want markets for everything. Markets are effectively truth machines, and sometimes it can be a lot of fun, especially if people are making money. On the other hand, gambling nature is
something is going on.
People are hitting $25,000 on a hit one guy.
You know what? It's so funny. I was telling everybody, I thought we were gonna have like 100 users in the first week, and we have done that by hundreds of times. So we're definitely still in the mode of trying to scale everything up like as fast as possible. But
let's go.
On hyper financialization of everything, honestly, I think that people just like risk. And naturally, as humans, people crave risk. And what we saw before is that the tools for risk were just not readily available for regular people like they are now. 10 years ago, I could not go on my phone and place a sports bet. I had to go to AC or Vegas, right? That's at least when I was growing up in high school. 15 years ago, I couldn't really trade options before Robinhood, right? I still cannot go onto Robinhood today and just short off the rip an asset. Right. And so I think as these things are getting easier to access, it's just a natural progression that humans crave. I really don't see it as this massive societal shift. I said this somewhere else the other day, I don't know anybody that has ever said to themselves, the world is something's going on, so I'm going to put in a parlay tonight so I can I can get out of it. I've never heard that. And so I think really it's just natural. Humans crave risk. We have tools being created every day that help them reach that. And that's kind of where we are. And I say that as somebody, building a product like this, This isn't, I saw a sector in the market and I want to go make money. This is genuinely me as a product. I am somebody that loves risk. This came from my initial trading styles of high leverage and just choosing what's going up the most or least. So I honestly don't see it as like a societal bad thing. I think everything's the same. It's just the tools are there now, personally.
Yeah,
Um,
and the tools can make it actually a lot more fun. People always wanted to access it. Maybe it was just a little
I
bit
mean,
too.
why? Yeah, like why should you need to be smart to make money, and why can't it be fun at the same time? I didn't
Exactly.
see anywhere where those two rules were written down. So
No,
we're doing it.
no, if those rules are written down anywhere, we're gonna break them. And so, you mentioned a little bit, 1000x, new assets, new game modes, social features. What's next for Hit One? It sounds like you guys aren't just stopping at 1000x. You've got new games
No.
coming out all together. Anything that we can expect?
Yeah, so I can't say exactly what our next game is right now, but I honestly think I might like it more than this one, and this one I really love. I can say that again, it won't be a slot machine UI. The UIs will change, the experience might
Mhm.
change, but you're gonna feel is that thrill. What you're gonna see is something easily digestible and understood. And no matter what, at the end of the day, common denominator, these are non-deterministic games built on top of markets. I don't ever want to choose whether a user wins or loses. I want the market to do that. What we're providing is just a really fun place to access risk. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can expect a lot more games on either options, perps, anywhere there's a market, we are going to build something fun for it.
Epic. Very, very cool. Guys, go to Hit One, hit.one. You can start playing 1000x today. And there's plenty more to come from Hit One. Feel the thrill of the markets. That's what it's all about. Henry, thank you so much for joining. And you're the last app of Mega App Day.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for closing the show.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, man. Congrats on the launch and congrats to MegaETH at large. We'll see you next time. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. There you have it. Henry closing the show. Hit One, 1000x. 1000x leverage. He needed a VPN in order to access that. No wonder. I don't know how the US regulators are allowing this to happen. The gamification of markets, the lines are just getting blurred, between investing and gambling. Why should you need to be smart to make money? Why shouldn't it be fun? We're breaking the rules around here. I think that's what MegaETH is all about. If I learned anything here today, talking with Shu Yao, talking with all of the app developers and founders that we had on the show today, man, if I learned anything, it's break the rules, because things are just not the way that they used to be. Guys, pretty incredible. I mean, if we want to just recap here, shout out to Shu Yao. Shu was on the show longer than I ever expected. This was a last minute buzzer beater of a co-host. We had Shu come on. We had her open up the show, and then she stuck around longer than most people can. It was a great fill-in for our co-host, Andy, who is surfing out there somewhere right now. We had Shu Yao fill in, the queen of MegaETH herself, talked through all of the MegaETH lore and where it's going from here, what we can expect. Then we had Zeet, who unfortunately couldn't make it, but we had Casey from Euphoria. We had Lucas from World Markets. We had Flux from Rocket, some insane UIs. Obviously, what we have here on MegaETH is some core, deep expertise when it comes to market structure. Shout out to Lucas from World Markets, also Flux from Rocket. And there's kind of like what I'm understanding of the MegaETH ecosystem is that there's two core components. You've got USDM, which is obviously born out of the Athena ecosystem and has led to 500 million plus in TVL on Aave, which is leading this interest-bearing development that multiple apps are building on. You've got the USDM, and you've got World Markets, which is powering the perps ecosystem on MegaETH. And these two core primitives are underpinning all of the consumer facing applications. And so if you think about Rocket and you think about Euphoria and you think about Hit One, you've got this really, really fascinating user experience that all of these guys have been able to build something very unique and very fun, which is different than what we've seen across the map, right? For so long, it was like, okay, we're building all these primitives, and then we kind of just left it at that. We didn't really have good UX designers. MegaETH has good UX designers, and they've got the backbone of DeFi with USDM and world markets and in perps. And that is what is now underpinning all of these really good UX designs. And so we've got this deep DeFi functionality at the foundation. And then we've got the likes of Hit One, Euphoria, and Rocket that are really, really cool in terms of UX. And then, don't forget our friends over at Monster Trading Cards going parabolic. I wouldn't be surprised. Andy over at Monster could be a unicorn, but obviously we got to figure out scale, right? 2-person team isn't going to get this guy millions of dollars of trading card inventory. And then we got to get someone to go to the post office for this guy. And then we had Ataberk from Bricks as well, working on the tokenization in the RWA space. But it really feels like you've got this double-edged sword. You've got this barbell approach with some really, really fun UX design and some really, really deep experience and expertise in the market structure that underpins the consumer-facing applications. Guys, watch out. Don't sleep on MegaETH. These guys are building very intentionally, very thoughtfully in mind. Killer team all across the board, from the core team all the way through to the ecosystem. Guys, this is our last show. We had a MegaETH App Day special today, and we're going to be live from Miami tomorrow. We're going to be live from the Gamma Prime Tokenized Capital Summit. Don't miss it. We're going to be going live right around our normal time, maybe a little bit earlier, because we've got plenty of content and plenty to share with you guys live from the show floor. We'll have my co-host Andy coming back next week. And boy, we're not going anywhere, guys. We're not stopping. We're just getting started. Closing out, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in Miami.